Thanks everyone for being here. It's me, Ori Dosset, Rashinomi Rashid. Welcome to another live. I see people already are in the live chat. See William is here, Kula Girl is here, Suzanne Maria is here. All right. So people have issues commenting on the Google Drive. Well, I'm going to check it out because normally you should be able to just leave comments openly. I don't know why it's not possible this time, so I'm going to check the settings of this live stream. And if not, I'll look for another online way for us to communicate. So don't worry about that. I'll come after it. Okay, so okay, I'll go after that directly of this live chat, live stream. I mean, okay. So what's the topic of this morning? Well, at least morning for me here. I want to talk about something that they seldom talk about when it comes to narcissists. Yes, I'm talking about narcissists again in this live stream, but I want to focus and zoom in on one aspect that most people don't even notice. And before I go there, I need to give an illustration to you. Okay? Okay, you are waiting for a bus, let's say in New York City or LA or Amsterdam, wherever you're waiting for the bus to come. Finally, the bus arrives. Everyone puts their bags in, well, wherever they need to put their bags in. I mean, their suitcases, and then they enter the bus. They show their tickets and they take the seats. The bus even has Wi-Fi and ports where you can charge your phone. So you think, oh, it's all well. Then the bus begins to drive. While the bus is driving, you notice that the bus is driving quite slowly. For example, you can drive 100 kilometers an hour on the road, but the bus is only going 60 kilometers an hour, even though it should go. But so you think to yourself, why is this bus driving so slowly? Now that's a red flag. As you notice that the bus almost misses some of those bus stops. So you think to yourself, what's going on here? Then you get out of the bus eventually. And after getting off the bus, you arrive at your destination and you tell the people that you arrived late because the bus didn't drive at its full capacity. It went quite slow. And then the people ask you, which bus was it? And you describe the bus, and then they tell you, what? You took that team to come over here? You tell them, yeah, what's going on? They will inform you that bus has no brakes. You think yourself, hold on, come on. The bus has no brakes? What are you talking about? The bus has no brakes, man. So the bus cannot stop suddenly when necessary. The bus cannot slow down effectively. That's why the driver drove the bus so slowly. Because if the bus would have gone on a fast speed, it would have crashed. So then you think, okay, but then you arrive home and you are shocked. You think, what? I was on a bus without any brakes because the brakes were not working. And now you need to process it psychologically that your life was in danger all the time. Well, you thought you were safe. Now, think about this. Think about the bus without any brakes. Or think about a car without any brakes. Or for that matter, even a train without any brakes. That's not safe. Any vehicle out there, whether it's a bicycle or a bus or a train, now a train is not really a vehicle, well, no, okay, let's call it a vehicle. They need to have brakes. Why? The brakes are necessary to guarantee safety. Without any brakes, the vehicle cannot stop and it will crash and will be deadly on the road or on the railways. Now, remember this illustration. And now we're going to talk about the narcissist, or as the Bible calls them, the reprobate. Think about the bus without any brakes. A narcissist or a reprobate, as the Bible calls them, It's very simple. It's a human being without any natural balance. That's what it comes down to. Now, what's the natural balance? The natural balance is any time your body or your mind goes into a in dangerous situation, your body and your mind has mechanisms to put you back in safety. For example, if you are sitting in a cafe and suddenly you hear gunshots, what happens? Your brain picks up that there's danger and your body gets adrenaline very quickly. So you can fight or flight. That's the physical side. Or let's say now that you turn around and suddenly you see someone's being gunned down. You suddenly faint. Your mind goes blank and you faint. Why? To prevent you from being overwhelmed by what just happened. Sometimes you go through a traumatic thing and your mind shuts down the memory of what happened to you so that you are not overwhelmed psychologically by the thing that happened to you. Because the thing that psychologically happened to you also have a physical effect. So to protect both your mind and your mind goes onto a lockdown when it comes to the memory. So yes, all human beings are designed with a natural balance. If you don't have sufficient water in your body, you get thirsty. If you don't have sufficient energy source, you get hungry. If you don't have enough uh, connection to the community, you feel lonely. So what goes on? We all are designed with a natural balance. Now, with some people, the natural balance is a bit off. Those are people who are addicted. Though to trauma or to neglect, they function in a dysfunctional way. But even in that dysfunctional way, the natural balance is still there. It's just a bit off. But you still have a natural balance. When you're dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone without any natural balance. They have zero natural balance. So, I want you to consider the ramifications and implications of someone without a natural balance. That is an individual who has no internal off switch to keep them safe. Your mind has an internal off switch naturally. Your body has also internal natural off switch. With the reprobate, the off switch is damaged. So the off switch does not work. So the off switch not working is the same as the off switch not even being there. So that means that the reprobate is completely unstable and they're completely reliant on other people to keep them in a safe condition. Now, this is not a pitiful situation that requires help. This is a dangerous situation. Look, a little baby can't do anything because it's just a little baby. But even with babies, you see an urge for autonomy. But the human urge for autonomy is also connected to the community. We are community creatures. And as community creatures, we ought to get along and we ought to cooperate. Because we have to get along, because without getting along, none of our human needs are met, especially not psychological needs. So because we need to get along, we have this natural balance that we're designed with. So because the reprobate lacks a working natural balance, that is why when it comes to social relationships, they are so destructive and so cruel. Because there is no off switch that goes off in them when they're out of balance. Okay, let me give an example of what I mean. Let's take a common situation. Okay? You are at a cafe sitting outside with your spouse or maybe with a friend or with someone, and other people sitting there also. And then someone walks by. An individual that walks by is suddenly gunned down or they're stabbed out of the blue and they fall down. Anyone with natural balance is shocked by what happened. They think, what's going on? Some people may jump and go after the perpetrator. Well, they may not be a smart thing to do if they have a gun, but some people may go after the perpetrator, and others may decide to call 911 or to call the emergency services, and others will stay with the victim to check what's going on. You'll stop what you're doing, the conversations you had with the people there, drinking your coffee or your Coke, whatever. You will stop what you're doing and attend to the situation. That's natural balance. Or it can be, now this is a very other example, that we're about to go jogging outside. But then you notice there's a big storm coming with a lot of lightning and thunder and heavy rainfall. So your plan and your decision to go jogging is switched off because you realize jogging now is going to be dangerous for me. It's going to make me sick. I can get into accidents. I'm not going to do that. That is a natural balance that you have. The narcissist doesn't have this. Think about a marriage, for example. In a marriage, both sex partners need to invest in one another. But the reprobate doesn't even notice that they're only taking, taking, and taking. And if they do something, it's only to shut the mouth of the other individual. So the reprobate has no natural balance. And this is one thing that many of those self-help gurus are not talking about. That's why I've been telling you, watch out for those self-help gurus. Because 9 out of 10 times, they'll only give you facts about something, but they won't give you the context. Well, I just gave you the context of the reprobate. And based on this knowledge of the reprobate, you can now see why it's so dangerous to be involved with them. Now you see why it's so dangerous. Okay, let's think about the example I just gave about someone wanted to go jogging. Okay, they put on their outfit, they want to go jogging, but then they see it's raining. You can still jog while it's raining, but then you hear the thunder, very loud thunder. You see, there's also a hard wind. Anyone, even people who are mentally ill, their mind will freeze them. So they will realize, hold on a minute, what am I doing? Going to jog outside, going for a run in this weather. Their body will get uncomfortable moving forwards to open the door and go outside and jog. Now, forget about wanting to go jogging, okay? Let's think about some other stuff, okay? Let's say you and your spouse are at the mall, and your narcissist spouse sees this expensive jacket that he wants. But then you remind your spouse, darling, we don't have enough money for that. Okay, if you purchase that jacket, we'll be lacking in other areas. Now, anyone out there, even mentally ill people, realize, you know what, I'm not going to do that. We need to pay rent, we need to have food in the house, and if we have left, okay, then we can get something nice from time to time. But the narcissist or the reprobate, they may externally agree with you, indeed, I can't get that because we don't have the money for it. But internally, there is this anger that's unfolded. And this anger will just foam and foam, become bigger and bigger. And then maybe 20 days later, when you totally forgot about the incident, suddenly there's an argument and your spouse explodes on you, screams at you, throws objects, and think, whoa, where this came from. And then you figure out it has to do with you, quote unquote, denying your spouse some love. And you think, when did I deny you some love? And then he mentions the time you were in a mall and you wanted that jacket and you withheld it from him. And you think, what? Uh, darling, don't you remember I told you we didn't have the money back then for it? If you would have purchased an expensive jacket, we may have run out of money to pay the bills. And the month afterwards, we had more money left. Why didn't you just wait till a month afterwards and get the same jacket? The jacket was still there. And indeed, a month later, that same jacket was still in the mall. He could have gotten it. It was only that month that they were short on money. But afterwards, they were not short on money. Afterwards, both of them are working, they got their wage. So you're thinking, what? I didn't withhold anything from you. It was just not in harmony with reality for you to get a jacket and to compromise on us paying bills. But you perceive it as me withholding affection from you? What? So in this case, the reprobate feels victimized. Now, the question is, was the reprobate victimized objectively? Was he or she objectively victimized? No, they were not. They were not victimized, but they feel victimized. And that's the key. They feel victimized. And the fact that they feel victimized is enough for them to believe that they are victimized. So because they feel victimized, that means they were victimized, and that means that you have something to make up to them. And you're there thinking, hold on a minute. First of all, that was not this is not something to argue about because you could have gotten a jacket anyway. And why did you build up so much anger about that situation? And now you're exploding on me in the house like that, screaming, throwing objects for such a dumb thing? Well, that's how the reprobate is. Even when they externally comply, at the moment, don't think it's peace. It's not. The fire is burning on the inside, and the fire will get bigger and bigger, and before you know it, there's an explosion. They cannot regulate their own feelings and emotions. They have no natural balance. So either you need to give in to whatever they want 24/7, which is impossible. Nobody can do that. Even if you would want to, it's not possible. And even if you would want to, not everything they want is even safe for themselves. For example, you may have a reprobate that wants to go drinking all the time. Have strong spirits, drinking strong spirits, strong alcoholic drinks. If you would give into it on a daily basis, you would actually help him killing himself because he's drinking too much strong alcohol. So if you would do that, you would actually be a complicit in him killing himself, and you would go to prison for it. But the reprobate thinks, hey, you don't enable me to drink happy spirits, so you don't love me. So that's how they are. They don't even consider, hold on a minute, why do I want to drink heavy drinks every day? What's wrong with me? That natural balance is not there. Look, a child may be upset and moody when it doesn't have its way, but eventually the child will settle and realize, hey, mom and dad are correct. Especially when the child is older, think, hold on a minute, I wasn't able to foresee the consequence of eating all the candy. So mom and dad did the right thing by telling me no more candy. A child will eventually calm down and look for something else. A child will not scream over and over again for the same thing because a child is flexible. Just how we should be as adults, flexible and practical. So children cannot be very practical because they're just children, but at least they're flexible. The narcissist is not childish. You know why? Because the narcissist it doesn't even have the flexibility that children have. Remember that. Stop calling narcissistic people or narcissists childish. It's an insult to children. Children are flexible. If children want one toy but they can't get a toy, it is something else is shiny, you go for it. If a child can't have candy right now, but they can't play football, whatever, the child will switch. Because the child has a natural balance in the child that will develop when they're in adulthood. With a narcissist, this natural balance has been disrupted and it doesn't work anymore. And that's why you're dealing with a deranged being that can explode in anger and cause a fatal situation anytime. So that is the key thing about reprobates that you need to know. Forget about love bombing. Forget about future faking. Forget about the honeymoon phase. Forget about triangulation. Forget about the types of narcissists that they categorize out there in psychology. There's one thing you need to know about reprobate, and if you know this one thing, you're far ahead. And this one thing many people don't know. There's just one thing not even many psychologists realize, and that is that the reprobate is a creature without a natural balance. The moment you realize this, you get demotivated instantly from being involved with them. The same way you would not enter a bus without any brakes, you would not continue involvement with a human being without natural balance. And look at this. The brakes of a bus or a car are internal. You don't see them on the outside. You see the windows on the outside, you see the lights of the car or the bus, but you don't see the brakes. The brakes are an internal mechanism. So how do you know whether a car or a bus has no brakes working? You either have to have the knowledge ahead of time, or you must be able to open the vehicle. Now, unless you're a car mechanic and you have access to the vehicle, you won't be able to open the vehicle and figure out what's going on. So you have to examine while you're driving, how is the drive going? Or when you're on the bus, you need to examine how is this bus riding. Because you don't have the access directly to see inside the vehicle. You can't see, oh, it has no brakes, you need to get out of here. The same is with reprobates. You don't see at first glance that they are a dangerous and risky human being. You don't. A reprobate can be a woman that's dressed modestly and goes to church every Sunday. It can be a female that puts on makeup and was quite polite and quite respectful in daily behavior. It can be a woman that's well dressed and well maintained with a high hygiene, or even. It can also be a guy with a three-piece suit. It can even be a preacher on fire about the word of God every Sunday. It can even be someone in the late teens who's very complying with his or her parents. You cannot see at first sight whether someone's a reprobate or not. Anyone who tells you this is lying to you. Nobody can just look at someone and say, oh, you're a reprobate. No, that's not how it goes. You can feel that something's off with someone, but then it takes examination to further see what's wrong with the individual. Look, that's why I always tell you to pay attention to your intuition. Your intuition will hint to you if something is well with someone and also if something is off with someone. Your intuition can pick up both good tension as well as bad tension. When your intuition picks up bad tension on someone, it means something's off with the individual. You don't know what it is. But that's a warning signal that will trigger you to look further. Look, A reprobate is not someone that explodes 24/7, because no human being can afford to explode 24/7. First of all, physically, they would faint of exhaustion. Mentally, they wouldn't be able to handle it. And likely, they're stopped by other people. So a reprobate is not someone that explodes 24/7 every second. No. A reprobate is someone without any natural balance. And the worst thing about this condition is, or this situation is, that they're either not aware of it or they don't care. They're so obsessed with fleeing and escaping that they don't even want to face the fact that they have no natural balance. Your natural balance is what keeps you safe in bad situations, because your mind and your body are pushed into the right direction. Your natural balance is what keeps you in harmony with other people. It is what keeps you sane at night when you go to sleep. And the worst thing is that the individual doesn't have to remain that way. The reprobate can face that they are completely defective and risky, and therefore the healing process begins. But the healing process will be quite painful and quite shocking. And that's the thing the reprobate doesn't want to face. That's what they're fleeing from. So that's why the reprobate is less likely to ever recover. A reprobate can be saved and can be redeemed, but most of the time, reprobates are not don't end up delivered. It did happen in history that reprobates came to faith and became better, but most of the time, once individual reaches that state, there's no turning back. Most of the time. I'm not saying this 100% of the time, but most of the time, there's no turning back. Thanks for the super chat donation, Steve E. Thank you very much. But okay, now that we have gotten to this, that the reprobate has no natural balance, you also need to consider the other parts. If the reprobate has no natural balance, that means that the environment becomes intoxicated with their waste. If someone has no natural balance, that means there is a load on the community to carry. So it's very simple. No reprobate can remain alive unless there is some enablement from the community. Because remember, they have no natural balance. They have no off switch. So the community is functioning as their balance. And that means that the community is now plagued by their instability. So anytime you see a reprobate somewhere, and they are around family and friends, and they are part of the social life, those people that are involved with, they must be enablers. Because no reprobate can ever succeed at all without any enablement. So that is how it goes. And that's why I'm telling you, there is no such thing as a reprobate without enablement. So if you want to know whether someone or no, not someone, when situation is safe, look if there are reprobates around. If a reprobate is in a situation, then you know that the situation is not safe. Anytime a reprobate is somewhere in a family or someone in a corporation or in a church, you know there's danger over there. Because think about it. Because the reprobate has no natural balance, it means that the community functions as their balance, and that means the community is burdened. Now, in an in an ideal situation, the community would realize we're gonna make it. Why are we so drained? Why are we so exhausted? Why we are so intoxicated? And then we can realize someone amongst us is poisoning us. And then we realize, hey, you, what's going on here? And they would address the individual. But in the world, most of the time, people don't even notice that they are intoxicated by someone's presence. Presence. They don't. So because people do not realize that there is an intoxicating figure around them, they end up being sucked into the cloud of misery. And this is what society is in general. And this is what also happens in the corporate world. So that is why I always warn you, saints, to never end up stuck needing this world. Because the moment you end up needing this world, you are in trouble. As simple as that. So, are there any questions already about this topic? Because right now that we're speaking, I'm creating the Google Hangouts space, which I'm going to share the link that you guys can use. Okay. Yes, Wolborg, that's something that's confirmed by prophecy. So, okay, I made the Hangouts group. So the only thing necessary now is to generate a link so people can join, and I'm going to share it also in the live chat directly. So if you would wait enough 30 seconds, I'm going to look for the link. I'm going to drop it in here. One moment, please. All right, hold on. Can you hear me all? Okay. Does anyone know how to generate a link to a Hangouts session? Google had some updates lately, so I'm just figuring it out right now. All right, but apart from that, you can also ask other questions meanwhile, while I'm figuring out how to get a link to this. Mhm. All right. Are there no questions? All right, someone asked, can I use StreamYard? StreamYard is only when you are actually live, doing a live session. And there's a limited amount of movements you can put on it. So hold on. Or else I use Microsoft Teams if necessary. But hold on. Let me know one thing. All of you have a Google account, it's obvious, or else you wouldn't be on here able to answer in the live chat. Do you all also have a Microsoft account? Let me know if you have a Microsoft account or not. All right. So hold on. Saints, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look further into this situation on how to generate a way to communicate directly in the chat, even when I'm offline. There is a way to do it through Google. I'm just going to figure it out quickly right now. I'm going to post a community post within a half hour on my account. Check the community post I'm going to post. There will be a link in it to the new option you can use just to talk even when I'm offline. So I'm going to look after that right now. And all right. So I didn't see any other questions. Oh, Suzanne, what is your question about? Oh, you mean about the reprobate? Oh, they don't have murder spirits directly, but they're just very unstable people that you need to watch out for. I have Zoom also here. So Zoom is an option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check for Zoom and Google. And if I have a Google option and a Zoom option, I'll just put both links over there. I have no problem using both of them. All right. So I'm going to check for Zoom and Google both at the same time right now. Thanks for being here in the live stream. And Gino, I'm going to talk to you right now. No, reprobates don't have a murder spirit. Some do, but not all of them. Suzanne. Anyway, be at peace, and I'll see you all next time.